Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill? Ms. Gross?
Here.
Mr. Kraus?
Here.
Mr. Lavelle?
Here.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Here.
Mrs. Warwick? Mr. Wilson? Reverend Burgess?
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you very much. We'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. The agenda is amended. The next order of business is proclamation. We have one by Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you. If everyone from the Task Force for Employee Ownership could join me up here, please.
Oh, come up.
Thank you, and you can just come all the way up here. All right, so this is National Employee Ownership Month, and the proclamation focuses on that, but I wanted to honor everyone today for the work that we've done over the last 5 years or so on the citywide task force on employee ownership, which we'll get into in a little bit, but for now, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas National Employee Ownership Month, first celebrated in 1982 by the National Center for Employee Ownership, is celebrated nationwide every October. And whereas Pittsburgh is poised to become a national leader in creating employee ownership, which stimulates economic growth, maintains and creates stable jobs, and enhances communities. And whereas in 2019, the nonprofit Pennsylvania Center for Employee Ownership and the City of Pittsburgh, with the support of the Heinz Endowments, Chatham University, the University of Pittsburgh, and volunteer leaders across the region, created the nation's first citywide task force on employee ownership to improve the financial lives of working citizens in Pittsburgh. And whereas the PA Center has made great progress in increasing the awareness of the benefits associated with employee ownership in the greater Pittsburgh region and throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas the PA Center seeks to bolster Pittsburgh's economy by increasing the number of employee-owned businesses throughout the region, thereby exemplifying that businesses that invest in their employees bring success into our local economy. And whereas the Pennsylvania Center officially launched a strategic and widespread awareness campaign in September of this year as a product of the Pittsburgh Citywide Task Force on Employee Ownership's work. And whereas the Pennsylvania Center will continue to serve our region, strengthen employee ownership, and help to foster economic prosperity in the region. And whereas the City of Pittsburgh commends, congratulates, and supports the great work of Pennsylvania Center and the Pittsburgh Citywide Task Force on Employee Ownership for an important work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and honor the work and dedication of Pennsylvania Center on Employee Ownership and the importance of encouraging and recognizing employee ownership within and beyond the borders of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. Be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare the month of October 2023 to be Employee Ownership Month in the City of Pittsburgh.
Motion to approve. Maybe. All those in favor?
I'm sorry. I need a motion.
We did.
You can't. Need a motion. I didn't hear it. Just
Motion
repeat
to
it, please.
approve.
Need a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. It is approved.
Congratulations. So we have a lot of members of the citywide task force joining us today. In the room prior and had to leave for another meeting was Sarah Enamorado, who's also been a champion of this and has worked to introduce legislation previously at the House level, the state level, to actually work to establish a statewide office of employee ownership to help businesses have the money that they need to make that conversion. So, but wanted to recognize many of the members of the task force we have today. I know that Kevin McPhillips, the director of Pennsylvania Center on Employee Ownership, is here to speak a little bit on behalf of the organization and the task force and the work that they do and have done for many, many years and some of the successes we've seen already.
Thank you. Thanks. Councilmember Strasburger, thank you so much. Reverend Burgess, thank you. Members of council, thank you for having us here today. We're very appreciative of this. I'd like to take one moment and introduce, if I could, the members of the Pittsburgh Citywide Task Force on Employee Ownership. By the way, the nation's first citywide effort to introduce a concept which is not well known called employee ownership to a full-scale city. Obviously, Councilmember Strasburger, Dan Zugel, John Seifer, Anita Pritzio, Emily Martzall, Dr. Kim Young-un, Andrew Novak, Councilmember Deb Gross, Councilmember Anthony Coghill, and I want to thank you so much for this. I'll just share with you this. Employee ownership is an extraordinary program. There are over 7,000 firms nationwide that are employee-owned and almost 14 million employee owners. Wages in employee-owned businesses are as much as 33% higher than non-employee-owned businesses. And people who are part of employee-owned businesses have real futures with as much as 3 to 4 times the retirement funds. And yet very few people know about this. I'm very grateful to the city of Pittsburgh, which is taking an initiative that's unique in our nation and is making Pittsburgh truly a vanguard city in ensuring the future and the financial success of working people. Thank you very much for your kindness. Thank you for your support. Thank you to the task force for all you've done, and we're grateful.
Councilwoman Gross, would you like to say, I know this has been an issue that you've been working on for many years too. Would you like to say a few words about your interest and passion for cooperatives and ESOPs and all of that?
Hi, thank you. First of all, to the task force, to the co-chairs, and to all of the work that is really about creating wealth, right, for city residents. Employee owners have assets, build wealth, literally are owners of their workplace. And so we can do better here in raising the awareness. We're grateful to the task force for their outreach. We have businesses in the city of Pittsburgh whose owners have been doing what they've been doing for a very long time. They're ready to retire, right? And this is an opportunity where we can keep that business that we love in the neighborhood, and we can keep the employment in the neighborhood, but even do better and have all of the profits owned by the resident workers. And so whether it's, there's a range of businesses, but we should all in our districts and out there in our city neighborhoods be aware that if a lot of those are kind of baby boomer owners that have been doing that for maybe a few decades, maybe their kids don't want the business and now they're ready to retire. Employee ownership is an option, and we can get in touch with the PA CEO. So we appreciate all your work. Thank you so much.
That's great.
What I love about employee ownership is a couple of things. One, that regardless of the size of your business, it is a possibility to build wealth, both for the people who might work in the mailroom or the janitorial staff, if they're on the actual staff of the company, up to the corner office. You can build wealth and build your retirement and retire comfortably and have the opportunity to be financially stable and successful. And two, it's bipartisan. It has a broad bipartisan support. It's one of those sort of interesting issues that can garner that for different reasons. And so we're working to direct people to the website where they can learn more and attend information sessions with technical experts like lawyers and financial planners to help you, as a business owner, answer questions about that. What's the website? pghtaskforce.org. So please visit the website to learn more. And thank you to the task force. Thank you, Council.
The next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern,
Mr. Chair.
official action.
Mr. Chair,
Pardon me?
I have a will.
I'm sorry. Oh, here it goes. There it goes. We have a will of council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I see. I always need your help, Mr. Cross. what am I going to do without you, right?
What are we going to do with, what are they going to do without us? No, I didn't say
Will
that.
of, will of council, not as well.
You know, this past few days ago, Senator Dianne Feinstein passed, as I'm sure everybody's aware. And I'd like to recognize Councilwoman Strasburger for being so generous to do the proclamation with me. And there's been a lot of perhaps unfounded comment around the senator that I think I was afraid would sort of constitute her legacy. And Senator Feinstein was so very much more than perhaps the press or some public opinion might want us to believe. And so I thought it was very important that we recognize the life and times of the senator through doing this will of council, and I appreciate the support of members. And it means a lot to me, so I'd like to read the will myself, if I may. So whereas Dianne Feinstein, a tireless advocate, dedicated public servant, and trailblazer, passed away on September 29th, 2023, leaving behind a legacy of remarkable accomplishments in the vibrant city of San Francisco and, of course, across the United States. And whereas born in San Francisco in 1933, Dianne's life was intricately woven into the fabric of the city she loves so dearly, and her impact on the community will be remembered for generations to come. And whereas Dianne's journey into the world of public service began in 1969 when she was appointed to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And whereas her tenure on the board was marked by a deep commitment to addressing the city's most pressing issues, and her passion for making San Francisco a better place for all its residents was evident from the start. And whereas she championed affordable housing initiatives, promoted public health reforms, and fought tirelessly for civil and LGBTQIA+ rights. And whereas in 1978, tragedy struck when Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk were viciously assassinated by Supervisor Dan White. And whereas Dianne Feinstein, who was president of the Board of Supervisors at the time, stepped into the role of acting mayor with grace and strength. And during her time as mayor, she faced one of the city's most challenging moments, that of guiding San Francisco through some of its darkest hours. And whereas her leadership and poise during these turbulent periods earned her the admiration and respect of the city and, of course, eventually the entire United States. And whereas Feinstein's impact extended well beyond her time as mayor, and whereas her long and distinguished career included serving as California's United States Senator, a position she held for decades, and throughout her tenure, she remained a staunch advocate, not just for Californians, but for all Americans, championing causes that ranged from environmental protection to healthcare access and sensible gun laws. And whereas in the realm of environmental conservation, Dianne played a pivotal role in preserving and protecting the national beauty of San Francisco and the surrounding Bay Area, for fighting for the expansion of national parks, including the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, and ensuring that future generations would have the opportunity to enjoy these treasures. And whereas while serving in the U.S. Senate, Dianne Feinstein was only one of 14 senators who voted against the original Defense of Marriage Act in 1996, which defined marriage as being between one man and one woman. And whereas while being the longest serving woman senator in the United States history, she was a tireless philanthropist, supporting numerous charitable causes that benefited the communities she held so dear, and her dedication to education, to health care, and social justice improved the lives of countless individuals and families across the United States. And so now, therefore, be it resolved that while the city of Pittsburgh mourns the passing of Dianne Feinstein, we also celebrate her legacy and her profound impact. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh calls on all current and future public service to draw from Dianne Feinstein's passion, compassion, dedication, fearlessness, and unwavering commitment to public service while advocating for progressive policies.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay.
So I'd like, if Councilwoman Strasburger, if you'd like comment.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Councilman Kraus, for introducing this, for allowing me the honor of co-sponsoring this along with you and the rest of council. And I was reflecting on her career and her upon her death last week. Having grown up in the San Francisco Bay Area, there was not a time in my life that when I was alive, that she was not in politics and, kind of at the forefront of San Francisco Bay Area politics as a mayor and then as a U.S. Senator. And, did I agree with every single one of her policies and votes and positions throughout her entire long career? No. Do I think she stayed in the Senate too long? Yes. That said, having two female U.S. senators, Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, when I was a small girl growing up in California, I think is part of the reason that I thought that politics was an option for me. So I wanted to join this will of council and honor her career and not only the work that she accomplished, but the role modeling that she provided.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chair, there's an incident that just burned in my memory, and from 1977, I just remember watching a video clip of a weekend that we truly believe the world had perhaps gone mad. The assassination of Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk came post Jones and Jonestown massacre of 900 people. And I just remember the headlines saying the world has gone mad. And it felt like it had. And it was the first time I'd ever heard of Dianne Feinstein, but she comes out and she says that as the president of the Board of Supervisors, it's my duty to make this announcement. And then she says, both Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk have been shot and killed. And the suspect at large is Supervisor Dan White. And that image of her coming out and making that announcement is forever burned in my brain, because I was only then learning who Harvey really was and the kind of impact that he was having in having become an elected official. And so that started this sort of journey of paying attention to who Dianne Feinstein was and following her career through the decades, and was blessed because of the impact that she, as a trailblazer in her own right, had in my life, and sort of gave me the permission that I can go out there if I want to as well too, and sort of put my politics on the line and make change if I want to. I found her to be a profound human being, and as Councilwoman Strasburger said as well, do we agree with everyone's positions at all times for all things? Of course we don't. We don't agree amongst ourselves oftentimes, but we do so as ladies and gentlemen, and we do so respectfully. And I just found her to be such a trailblazer and such a good human being. And reflecting on her passing, I really genuinely became concerned that there was going to be a generation out there that was only going to think of Dianne Feinstein as, oh, this was that person who stayed too long in the Senate. And she was so very much more than that, and I thought it would be such a disservice to her and her work and her legacy and how tirelessly she fought for me and for us, that I didn't want the moment to pass without recognizing her work and the profound impact she had on this nation. So I appreciate members supporting. Councilman, I really appreciate you signing on as well too. I appreciate you giving me the time to make the comments. Thank you.
Anything else? The next order of business is public comment. I'd like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be before council. Profanity will not be permitted. When you're called to speak, please state your name and neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller of Vancouver and Brasilia, Brazil. Global Intelligence Society candidate for President 2024. Vote by voter verification for whom? And uncensored freedom of speech and public comment are key to what I do. 412-969-7997 is the primary teletext contact for me, but you need to leave a message or your call will be deleted. Concerns that I share with the Pittsburgh City Council, of course, have to do with the contribution of Ms. Feinstein. With a minority of people here in the city of Pittsburgh and on the council of the city of Pittsburgh, rejected the 1996 DOMA, Defense of Marriage Act. But the real hero to me, or heroine to me, in all of that is Edie Windsor, and I don't think she gets enough attention. She was told repeatedly that her effort to go against DOMA would fail, and she rejected everybody's telling her that, and eventually, of course, she won. But in the meantime, the Clintons and Biden and Obama were against that. They were supporters of DOMA. The person on this council who has been most consistent about this has been Mr. Cross, and I respect that. I don't respect what has happened with other people on this council who have wavered in relationship to this particular issue. A concern that we share is with equity. I am opposed to equity, but at the intersection of black and female identity, Beverly Crenshaw being one of the most important contributors to the theory of intersectionalism, there's a lawsuit that opposes the Fearless Fund by the American Alliance for Equal Rights regarding a problem of the FF, the fund, a contest for grants only to female black entrepreneurs. The issues have to do with whether it's a free speech issue for the fund to be able to do that, or is it a violation of civil rights? I can go both ways on this, but I think that if the FF stands with this contest, then it opens the door to a lot of efforts by people who want to identify themselves as not racist, but who want white to do this or Asian to do that. See, I have a problem with all of that. We'll see what the courts have to do with that. And the last concern I have to do with is the 0600 that I've been here for meetings that this council refuses to start at 10 a.m. I think that is absurd.
Thank you very much. Our next registered speaker is Naomi Mullen. Naomi?
Here, shady trees, not shady deals in Bon Air. First, do no harm is not just a rule of medicine. Government shall not harm the people or can be held accountable. Blockbusting and infliction of emotional distress has occurred against Bon Air. Those who oppose the property owners of Bon Air do so at their own peril. Politicians and municipal employees are public servants. My husband was a very dedicated model employee that should be emulated by others. The Pennsylvania State Constitution says that government was created for the peace, safety, and happiness of we, the people. Decisions and actions that harm the people are not acceptable. There are elected and appointed officials that have proven themselves to be enemies of Bonaire. The Public School Board of Education in Pittsburgh has zero regard for the rights of the property owners, taxpayers, citizens, and voters in the Bonaire community. We do not consent to the detrimental school building remaining in our community. We do want a green space to replace the building and improve the location. This is the least that can be done to repair the loss that has occurred. Public servants of the school board shall work with the community to the best of their ability. It was fraudulent to claim that the community approved apartments there. The school board has proven itself as detrimental. Will you be part of the solution? Last year, the detrimental Bonaire school building worsened into being a disruptive and nuisance property. We have objected to apartments or anything other than a green space to replace the school, tear it down. The building is a magnet to youth who broke into. In addition to trespassing, 3 of the 7 had to be escorted out of the building, tear it down. Other neighborhoods have been blighted with worse. Do not allow it to happen to Bonaire. The outcry to the school board has proven futile. Put pressure on them to sell it to the city for $1. Tear it down. Now that McKinley Park is no longer in Bonaire, we want the school to become a green space as replacement. Open deals, not shady deals in Bonaire. Even current Pittsburgh Public Schools employees have said the solution is to tear down the building and put in a green space. The waste, fraud, and abuse of school tax resources is tremendous regarding this long-closed school. The death of a California senator is a concern of the Pittsburgh City Council. Thank you for proving that basically any topic is fair game. Shady trees, not shady deals in Bonaire. Thank you.
Our next registered speaker is Marseille Bands.
Marcia Bandies.
Marcia
Thank you, though.
Bands.
I know. So good day. I'm Marcia Bandies, and I'm chair of the Pittsburgh for CEDAW Coalition, which is a women's rights organization. I'm here once again to speak on behalf of the Gender Equity Commission, led by an executive director. The purpose of the Gender Equity Ordinance, passed unanimously in 2016, was to establish a permanent commission focused on gender equity during and beyond any one administration. And the requirement to have it led by an executive director was intentionally chosen to ensure ready access to the highest levels of Pittsburgh city government. Mayor Gainey has demonstrated his commitment to gender and racial equity, and we commend him in those areas that he has pursued. He has significantly increased diversity in his administration. He is engaging the Black Women's Equity Initiative. If it remains separate from the Gender Equity Commission, then the executive director needs to be in a position to work across the administration with them. And most recently, the mayor created the Office of Equal Protection, an enforcement and compliance office that seeks accountability in workers' rights, civil rights, and public safety for such laws passed as the paid sick leave. Yet the next administration, whether it be in 4 years or 24 years, can eliminate the Office of Equal Protection with a sweep of the pen, and much of the work accomplished by the diverse members of the mayor's administration and his focused work with the Black Women's Equity Initiative can be set back by the hiring done by the next administration. It is the Gender Equity Commission, led by an executive director, that will still be here. They will work to continue advancing gender equity for all women in Pittsburgh. That is their sole mission. That will be the ongoing force to help the mayor's gender equity legacy continue even after he has left the office. The executive director of the Gender Equity Commission has only gender equity to focus on, which includes the intersection of race, income, parenting demands, religion, gender identity, and the list goes on. But it is all gender equity. The previous mayor received an award for the UN for the work that the Gender Equity Commission was doing. more activities than I can possibly cover in a 3-minute comment. Members of the Gender Equity Commission have also presented and were on panels at the NGO Commission on the Status of Women's annual meetings at New York City and in other cities around the country that we're eager to learn. But that is why we would like to work with Mayor Gainey to rebuild the commission and hire an executive director that he will see as someone to help him accomplish his mission to improve gender equity and continue the work into future administrations. I thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Deja Knight. Is she online? Deja, are you with us? Our next registered speaker is Chief Po Mai Chokman Yahalahi.
My title is Pamai Chokman Yahalahi. I'm a Grand Council member, Chief of Medicine of the Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. And today, my public comments are for City Council, the URA, and the Land Bank. And the Constitution for the United States of America, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 states, and excluding Indians not taxed. And the Bouvier's dictionary adapted to the Constitution is clear on who these Indians are, stating the Aborigines of this country are so-called, and what an Indian tribe or nation is, a separate and distinct community or body of the Aboriginal Indian race of men found in the United States. And you can't find people, although we were met here by your ancestors. And all Indian treaties entered into prior to 1871 were consummated pursuant to Article 2, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, and Article 6 commonly referred to as the Supremacy Clause, which provides that the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. And the Northwest Ordinance of 1787 and Article 3 stated that the utmost good faith shall always be observed towards our people, and that our lands and our property shall never be taken from us without our consent, and that our property rights and liberty, they shall never be invaded or disturbed unless in a just and lawful war authorized by Congress. But laws founded in justice and humanity shall from time to time be made for preventing war, wrongs being done, and for the preserving of peace and friendship with our people. And you have an opportunity to continue this legacy, to make sure that we have a perpetual friendship and peace between ourselves and you, City Council, URA, Land Bank, all citizens, non-citizens, residents, non-residents, foreigners, aliens, immigrants, and the like. Our free, prior, informed consent is a specific right granted to our people, recognized in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which aligns with the universal right to our self-determination. And free, prior, informed consent allows our people to be provided, or to provide or withhold or withdraw our consent at any point regarding projects impacting our territories, which allows our people to engage in negotiations to shape the design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of projects. And the policies on Indigenous people aligns with the UN International Legal Framework, prioritizing the inclusion and promotion of our people's issues in its work. And you have an opportunity, and we've reached out on multiple occasions. As the work continues to happen in the city of Pittsburgh, do not forget this is still Indigenous lands. We do have a Delaware Treaty in place, and you're at.
Thank you very much. Our next registered speaker is Ajab Iba Nakani.
Greetings, and Makeliki. I am an Aborigine American matriarch, and my title is Gajalaji Chanal Ki'i, located in the Delaware Territory, as you all would call Pittsburgh. My statement today is to invoke my people's constitutional indigenous rights. We are the original beings, the original stewards of our ancestral lands, the Americas, including the islands, the Onwe from our great law of peace. My people are acknowledged and multiple maxims of law and documents such as the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, and excluding Indians not taxed, the Delaware Treaty, the Northwest Ordinance, the ADRIPT, the INDRIPT, House Congress Resolution 331, 100th Congress Second Session, and the list continues. Therefore, all municipal officers, citizens, all other foreigners, and immigrants have a responsibility to uphold their oath to the Constitution and are bound to the Constitution as well, which has enabled them to be unappreciative guests in my people's house, known as today the Americas, including the island. The city is under the jurisdiction, including the islands. The city is under the jurisdiction of the state. The state is under the jurisdiction of the government. Are you going to honor your oath to the Constitution? Are you going to continue to commit 18 U.S. Code 2381, treason, 18 U.S. Code 1091, genocide, forced assimilation, eugenics, colonization, kidnapping, child trafficking, discrimination, 18 U.S. Code 241, deprivation of rights under the color of law, 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights, and the list continues of the various actions that your people continue to make on behalf of my people, the Aboriginal Americans. We are not to be confused with Title 25 Native Americans, who are immigrants, foreigners, citizens, naturalized citizens under the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a corporation, aka a business. You are on stolen land and obtaining stolen resources. Are you going to continue to walk in the footsteps of your many nefarious immigrants and ancestors, such as Walter S. Plecker, a physician, the first Virginia State Register of Vital Statistics from 1912 to 1946, a promoter of eugenics, a desecrated movement nefariously pressuring state agencies to reclassifying my people as so-called colored. My people are your Slav and Aegistiscopos ancestors' saviors. We are not your abusers. I yield.
That exhausts the list of registered speakers. Is there anyone in chambers who want to speak before council? This is your time.
Good morning. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street. That's up in the Hill District. When I came last week, I was explaining to you that we have one resident that lived in the building that's part of this organization that we have for the tenants' rights that had a photo op with the politician who was our county councilman, DeWitt Walton. Now, I heard her when she walked past me twice, and then she came past with another resident and two white men, one had the camera. Well, I was sweeping, I had to move out the way for them to come through. And later on, I purposely went to her and I said, Miss So-and-so, you had a co-op, I said, and you didn't ask me. I said, I heard the maintenance man screaming that she wants residents for the co-op. Okay, so then some other words, but I did, when I got off the elevator, I went back and I had said to her, Gloria, I fight for the elders in the building, everyone. I don't pick and choose, and you have no right. One person, and there's 190 apartments, you understand? One person makes a decision that this man can come in the building and take pictures with certain people. Now, you hear me fussing about not taking my picture, which if they did, they wouldn't have put it in. And that's what I told her, you could have did that. My husband was sitting out there. A lot of people know my husband from the Housing Authority. A lot of people look up to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown said he was sitting there. They didn't ask him. So it's not just me saying this. I want you to understand, I take my voting for it. I will die for it because a lot of people did in order that we could vote. It shouldn't be that certain people can bring people, a politician up and use our building as the backdrop of that we are supporting this man. When I asked about getting transportation for the seniors to the bottom of the hill, he's gonna say, can't nobody come down here. When they asked him to call the bus company, can't nobody come down here tell me what they need. I know what they need. Listen, I know what we need. We live there. I walk and I take the bus. He has a car he owns and we rent there. Now we have security in the building, but that bad actor is still in the building. She walked past me coming in the elevator. I could have went to the manager because they try to pretend like they don't know who she is. But then I said, forget it. She did not run it up on me, Mr. Cahill, when you seen before. She didn't do that. I just said, let her, if she's coming in, as long as she don't say nothing to me, I'm not gonna fuss about her. But that shows that we don't have a good system up there. And we need more help, more security.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
I'm Bernadette from Beachview. Something's happening before your eyes, and y'all are going to get caught in your skivvies if you don't open them up. My own elected officials encompass city, county, state, federal, city residents, vote for all. The political denial game of it's not our area and that's not going to work. When one link unravels, it unravels for all the city residents, including your voters. My access ride rode through Sugartop and other parts of the hill, and it brought me to tears. Building after building after building boarded up, falling down because buses were stopped. One after another, like dominoes. Is this the deliberate team effort by the county and city to make deals with gentrification developers in bed with URA or more? That was my thought. Now buses are stopping more for the rest of the Hill District, between Mercy and Oakland. Stopping patient and employees who have been relying on that transportation. Another domino fall. Safety net unraveling, all because an RFP named Transdev, a French-German Wall Street money-hungry group, won that, and they are now, we had 5 providers, the access vans. They're cutting out First Transit. What's happening? The seniors who get paid by, and Access gets paid by Pennsylvania Lottery, the seniors are being denied trips. Example, a 93-year-old grandmother of a veteran was denied trips because she's not disabled. A 75-year-old lady, a bishop, came to me and said, is Access closing? Why? Sister so-and-so has been denied trips coming from Crafton from the high-rise to church for the past month. I was dropped off in the middle of nowhere looking like a Sims character in a game, spinning in a circle in Oakland on one of my mashed potato concussion brain days in Oakland. They're shutting down First Transit. It's affecting it. They're offering $20 for new drivers while leaving the $15 an hour drivers there with no increase. Nobody wants to work under those conditions. If you do not step in with the county, with Port Authority, do an audit. If PA Lottery is paying for seniors to get trips and they're being denied, something's going on.
Are there any other speakers? Are there any other speakers? Seeing none, next order of business is presentation of papers, starting with myself, Chair of Human Resources, Mr. Coghill for me.
No new papers.
Thank you very much. Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Directly, they didn't direct employees of
Councilman Coghill presents Bill 1988, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the purpose of receiving and spending grant funds in the amount of $17,598,124 for the purchase of radios.
Councilman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Mr. Pro Tem?
Thank you.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill 1989, resolution amending Resolution 413 of 2020, which authorized the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into a cooperation agreement or agreements relating to the shared operation and administration of the City of Pittsburgh Child Care Quality Fund by extending the term through 2024 at no further cost to the city. Bill 1990, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 5321 Holmes Street, 10th Ward, Pittsburgh 15201 at no cost to the city. And Bill 1991, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of the Southern Pennsylvania Commission in the not-to-exceed amount of $48,400.50 for the second installment of the 2023 Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission dues.
Thank you very much. Councilman Kraus, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill 1992, resolution vacating a portion of Wabash Street, formerly Walnut Street, laid out in the Denny's estate plan of lots from the center line of Low Street to its terminus in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District of the City of Pittsburgh at no cost to the city. Bill 1993, resolution granting a vacation of an unopened 10-foot unnamed way situate in the 19th Ward, 2nd Council District of the City of Pittsburgh at no cost to the city. Bill 1994, resolution granting unto Sports and Exhibition Authority of Pittsburgh, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense 2 electrical vaults, a bioretention tree well, and a planting area at 680 Logan Street in the 3rd Ward, 6th Council District of the City of Pittsburgh. Bill 1995, resolution granting unto Office Partners 23 Block G1 LLC, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a bioretention tree pit and a planting area at 626 Washington Place in the 3rd Ward, 6th Council District of the City of Pittsburgh. And Bill 1996, resolution authorizing acceptance by the City of Pittsburgh of the dedication of a portion of 5000 Forbes Avenue in the 14th Ward, 8th Council District of the City of Pittsburgh at no cost to the city.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill 1997, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in an amount not to exceed $4,450 over 1 year in favor of Anson Burr in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to a parked vehicle near 234 South Millville Avenue from a felled city right-of-way tree.
Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
No new papers, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill 2001, Resolution providing for the formal recognition of Indigenous Peoples' Day in the city of Pittsburgh as the second Monday of October to honor and appreciate the plight, contributions, culture, survivance, and achievements of the Indigenous communities in and around the city of Pittsburgh.
Motion to waive Rule 8.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Takes us to Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill 2000, resolution providing for the designation as an historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as Ella and Emil Keller House, located at 201 North Mertland Street in North Point Breeze in the 14th Ward, City of Pittsburgh. The owner of the property supports the nomination, and there is no cost to the city.
Thank you very much. And now I have presenting for Councilwoman Cal Smith, Chair of Hearing and Policy.
Councilwoman Cal Smith presents Bill 2003, resolution further amending Resolution Number 855 of 2011, effective December 29, 2011, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2011 Capital Budget and the 2011 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2011 through 2016 Capital Improvement Program by reducing city clerk's neighborhood needs by $90,859.95 and increasing city clerk's office modernization by $90,859.95. Bill 1998, a communication from Jake Pollock, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, supporting the City of Pittsburgh quarterly financial and performance report for the period ending June 30th, 2023. And Bill 2002, resolution appointing Sean Luther as a member of the Pittsburgh Parking Authority Board of Directors with a term to expire December 20th, 2027.
Okay, first of all, we'll take the communication, Bill 1998, and need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved, Mr.
Your second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Next, we have an appointment of Sean Luther as a member of the Pittsburgh Parking Authority Board of Directors. We can either interview or we can approve. What is the will of the body?
Motion to interview?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. The clerk will set up the interview. We will now move to unfinished business. There is one unfinished business.
Bill 1898, resolution appointing Terry Shields as a member of the Citizen Police Review Board with a term to expire October 31st, 2027.
It has been interviewed, held September 27, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved,
Is there
Mr.
a
Chair.
second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Mr. Shields, you are approved. Is there any other unfinished business before council? Seeing none, the next order of business is reports of committee for final action, starting with Councilman or Daniel Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Councilman R. Daniel Lavelle presents Bill 1983, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for September 27th, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1933, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Dickey, McCamey, and Chilcote, P.C. for expert legal services in connection with a litigation matter in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania, for an amount not to exceed $2,445.75 over 1 year. Bill 1934, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Summers, McDonald, Hudock, Guthrie, and Roche, P.C. for expert legal services in connection with a litigation matter in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania for an amount not to exceed $19,289.89 over 1 year. Bill 1935, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Christopher P. Boyle for expert fees in connection with a litigation matter in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania for an amount not to exceed $7,500 over 1 year. Bill 1936, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in an amount not to exceed $8,691.12 over 1 year in favor of Helen A. Wilson in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to her residence from a felled city-owned tree. Bill 1938, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in an amount not to exceed $5,000 over 1 year in favor of Keene George in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to property from a city environmental services vehicle. And Bill 1941, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Finance to execute a quit-claim deed or deeds and any other necessary or appropriate documents, agreements, and instruments conveying as is all of the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in a specified portion of the vacated Union Avenue comprising the access drive for the Allegheny Commons Apartments and ancillary open space to Allegheny Commons Community Partnership LP for consideration of $1.
Thank you very much. You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the bill, of the passage of the bill, without aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem?
Aye.
8 ayes.
The bill having received a legally required number of votes is finally passed. That takes us to Councilman Bruce Kraus, Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Bruce A. Kraus presents Bill 1984, report of the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for December 27, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1970, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with CSX Transportation for costs associated with the construction for the Charles Anderson Bridge project, providing for the payment of the costs thereof, not to exceed $439,223, federally reimbursable at 95%. Bill 1972, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Allegheny Valley Railroad Company for costs associated with the construction for the Charles Anderson Bridge project, providing for the payment of the costs thereof, not to exceed $250,000, federally reimbursable at 95%. And Bill 1981, a resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Duquesne Light Company in the amount of $72,918.57 in emergency payment for non-contracted work on the Homewood Park reconstruction project.
You've heard the reading title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill? Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes is passed finally. That takes us to myself and the Committee on Human Resources, Mr. Coghill, for me.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess presents Bill 1985, report of the Committee on Human Resources for September 27, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1932, resolution providing for an issuance of a warrant in favor of Global Wordsmiths in an amount not to exceed $23,976.66 for professional services related to translation of outreach materials and vital documents for the year 2023.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem?
Aye.
8 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, Committee on Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services. Thank you.
Councilperson Erica Strasburger presents Bill 1986, Report of the Committee on Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services for September 27, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1939, Resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Board of Public Education or another vendor chosen through the city's bid process for the purpose of providing meals in connection with the 2023-2024 food service program in the Department of Parks and Recreation. The total cost shall not exceed $750,000.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Discuss with members.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem?
Aye.
8 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilwoman Deborah L. Gross, Committee on Intergovernment and Educational Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Deborah L. Gross presents Bill 1987, Report of the Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for September 27, 2023, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1971, Resolution providing for a reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority for costs associated with the Charles Anderson Memorial Bridge project, where PWSA would be responsible for paying 100% of the actual expenses involved in certain work to be described in the agreements.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Kraus?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Reverend Burgess Pro Tem?
Aye.
8 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is now finally passed. We have a small game of chance now presented by Ms. Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Do you have it already?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Council Member Gross presents Bill 2005. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh hereby recognizes Bike Share Pittsburgh to be a civic and/or civic organization within the context of the Pennsylvania Small Games of Chance Act as amended.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else before council before I do the announcements? If not, this afternoon, council will hold a briefing for members to discuss the launch of Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority's new private service line leak repair and expansion conservation program for low-income customers, with the first session beginning at 1:30 and the second session at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, October 4th. Council's standing committee meeting is scheduled for 10 a.m. here in Chambers. To register to speak at the meeting, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage or call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Also, tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., council will hold a cablecast pre-agenda appointment or reappointments for Citizen Police Review Board. Also, tomorrow afternoon, council will hold a cablecast public hearing at 1:30 on the Lawrenceville Mobility Enhancement District, chaired by Councilwoman Gross. I now need a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Need a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. We are adjourned.